Why, hello everybody. I'm sorry I'm a few minutes late here. I know I promised you 6:30, but hold on, let me just adjust this here. There we go. Okay. I know I promised you 6:30 Central Time, but Bob and I were out for dinner, enjoying the beautiful day, and talking about the call that we have that's coming up in an hour. And we got, not that we lost track of time, but we had a little snafu, which kept us a little bit longer. So I appreciate you being with me. Thank you so much. I see you coming in. Let me give you a shout out to let me know who's coming in, where you're coming in from. Thank you for the love. Hello, Brant. Hello, Veronica. Loving to see you guys on here right now. We'll just give it a second for people to come on. I just got this new stand, and so I'm not really sure which way I'm supposed to be looking. Give me some hearts if I'm looking at the right place. Okay, and drop me a 1 in the comments if you can hear me okay, sound is okay, picture is okay, and you can see me. Okay, so very interesting topic today. I hope you'll find it interesting as much as I do. This is something that I'm very, very passionate about, and I'm coming out more and more with some of these ideas that I work with. And so let me know if you find these tips helpful for you, and I'll continue doing the lives. Oh, thank you, Brett. Okay, perfect. So welcome, Sherry. So for those of you who don't know me, my name's Allison Harris, and I'm a holistic wellness practitioner. I basically help people to become unstuck in their life and unstoppable. So whether it's feeling stuck in your body, stuck in your career, stuck in thought patterns that are not supporting you in your life and where you want to go, stuck in a relationship, whatever it is, I help people through transitions and through tough times by really supporting them nutritionally, and then helping them to have a conversation with their body and with their spirit. Now, what in the world does that mean? Okay, so today we're going to talk about decoding the secret language of your body. What if I told you that your body had a secret language, and that just by getting to know the certain cues or the ways that your body responds to certain things in your life, you could really move through transitions a lot more easily and become really more integrated and along your path, along your journey, whatever that means to you, wherever you are meant to be, just by reading the signs and signals that our bodies give us. So have you ever had an experience, let me know, have you ever had an experience where you had a physical symptom but no real reason why? So like maybe you were getting chronic stomach aches and you kept going to the doctor and they couldn't really figure out what was going on. All of the tests, came back fine, no problem. Or, you just had this creak in your neck or your hips, low back pain. That's a really common one. Give me a shout out or drop me a 1 in the comments if you can relate to that. If you've ever had just physical ailment that was just kind of nagging and there really was no real reason that any doctor could give you for why that was happening. So I know that this has happened to me many times in my life, throughout the course of my life. And the reasons for this from a spiritual standpoint, okay, so from my training, the way that I look at it, the way that I think about it, is that your body, your mind, and your spirit are so intimately connected. And so without having balance in all three, mind, body, and spirit, if you've got something going on in the mind and the emotions, the body is going to respond in some way. If you are not on course, on the path that you are supposed to be on, whether it's in your career, in a relationship, whatever it is, your body is going to give you signals. And really, because I'm somebody, and many of you know this about me, that I have suffered with chronic pain for many years. I no longer have it anymore, thank God. But for many years, I suffered with chronic pain. And I really started to hate my body and be angry at my body for giving me all this chronic pain. I've come to a point now where I actually have a tremendous amount of gratitude for my body when it starts giving me symptoms, because when it starts giving me symptoms, I realize something is off. It's either off physically, so I have to investigate and make sure that there isn't something physical going on, or there's something that I'm hanging on to emotionally, mentally, or something spiritually, like that I'm just not listening to, and I am supposed to be listening to. And each time this happens, my body gives me a symptom or some sort of pain, basically to get my attention so that I start listening, because it's when we are not listening to our intuition, we're not congruent, doing what we're supposed to be doing, where we get that resistance and our body feels it as pain in our body. Is that resonating with anybody on here? Let me know if that resonates for you, if that makes sense. So I first started to discover this mind-body connection when I was 20 years old, and I had just chronic back and hip pain. Went to every doctor, couldn't figure out what was going on. Actually, if I think about it, it started before then, because I would have chronic stomach aches in high school, and doctor couldn't figure out what it was. And ultimately, we figured out that it was stress related. There was a stressful situation in my life at that time that was just a constant trigger, and it was affecting my stomach. For those of you who have heard the term, a nervous stomach, or when you're upset about something, you might say, I'm just sick to my stomach. Literally meaning, it's giving me this feeling of just nauseousness or pain in my stomach. Or, some people will have diarrhea. That's where irritable bowel comes from. Things like that. Other terms that you've all heard, obviously, is pain in my neck. That's such a pain in my neck. Or, a heavy weight on my shoulders. And what I've learned is that words are very powerful, and there's a reason why where those words come from. Sometimes I'll wake up I'll just have a nagging neck pain for absolutely no reason. I can't remember twisting it. I don't remember what I could have done, to make that happen, but it just won't go away. And then I'll literally stop and go, okay, what is a pain in my neck right now? And I'm telling you guys, it's crazy. I can pinpoint what it is. I can deal with whatever it is. I can move through whatever it is. And guess what? Neck pain goes away, okay? So I first discovered this in high school, that it was stress related, but I read a book called Healing Back Pain when I was in college, and I was just having constant pain in my hip and back, absolutely no reason why. And then reading that book was transformative to me. I've read books, and I've done a lot of workshops, and I've become a healer myself and helping others have a conversation with their body and their spirit. But at that time, that was really kind of my first eye-opening experience that the body speaks to us in symptoms. Now, one of the things that I noticed back then, and I have noticed as a pattern, and some of you may relate to this as well, is that I was going through a time, back then where I was having some emotional symptoms. So I was feeling sadness, I was feeling anxiety, I was feeling panic. And at that time, I took a medication to basically damper down those emotional symptoms. And what I noticed is that it helped with the emotional symptoms, but guess what? It didn't get rid of the problem. It became a physical problem, and that's where the back and hip pain started. Years later, same thing. Having some of those emotional symptoms, got that under control, but because I wasn't dealing with the underlying reason why I was having that anxious feeling and some of those depressive symptoms, that became chronic, widespread pain. And I believe that it basically is my body's way of saying, listen, you can shut up the symptoms, but you have to still deal with what it is that's going on. And if you don't deal with it, we're going to give you physical pain that's literally going to stop you in your boots until you search and figure out and find out why this is happening. So I was, in constant conversation with my body without actually realizing it. And then once I realized it, I could deal with what the underlying issues were. And guess what? Pain went away, okay? So what can you do if you're feeling this way? We were in Mexico this past December, and my daughter is very sensitive, as I am, and so she'll feel things in her body when it's really emotions that are happening. And I noticed she kept having this, reoccurring pain in her body. And she didn't hurt herself. There was no reason for it, but it was real, okay? And so I want you to understand the pain is real. It's not imaginary just because it's coming from something emotional or spiritual. The pain is very real. There's a lack of energy in that area. There's a restriction in that area of flow. And so, people are really experiencing these symptoms. So she was really struggling. And I explained to her, because I started to believe that this was happening with her. I explained to her how, sometimes our body shows us in funny ways something that's really bothering us inside. And it's a way for our body to basically just, let us know. And that we shouldn't, be mad at our body for it. We should actually be grateful. And so I walked her through this process of, really trying to figure out what's going on. How are you feeling? And I asked her, when you think about this pain, and this is an exercise that I would ask you to do if this happens to you, so whether it's a headache, stomach ache, whatever it is, if it's something that's an ongoing issue, you basically want to find the emotion inside that gets stirred up when you think about this pain. So when you think about being in pain all the time, or that your stomach hurts, how do you feel about that? Okay, somebody may say angry, I feel sad, or I feel resentment that my body is hurting all the time and that I can't, do the activities that I'd like to do. I feel restricted. These are just common emotions that may come up when you ask somebody, how does this pain make them feel? And whatever emotions it is that's coming up for you, I want you to think about where else in your life are you feeling that way. So if you're feeling restricted, for instance, where else in your life are you feeling restricted? Well, maybe you're feeling like you're in a job that you just you don't have a lot of flexibility, you don't have a lot of freedom, you feel trapped. These types of emotions, these types of feelings are the exact, your body is trying to basically tell you what is actually happening on a much deeper level. And by addressing whatever issue is going on, what the underlying reason is, you will find that very often the physical symptoms will resolve. It's really actually very, very cool. But there are books out there, that really kind of go through the different parts of the body, the different organs, and we're not going to, really go through all of that right now. But there are different energy systems that are associated with certain emotional symptoms, physical symptoms, fear, security, financial issues, all of that stuff that are located in certain parts of the body to help you to really kind of decode it. And my job as a Reiki master teacher is to help people who, allow me to basically facilitate a healing session with them so that we can start to have a conversation with the energy in their body and find out, what exactly is going on. And I know that I focused a lot on pain, but it's not always pain. It can be things like reflux or, different issues, sinus issues, even female issues. Not to say that these things don't have physical basis, they do, but when we can't figure out physically why these things are happening, that's when we go to looking a little bit deeper into these messages. So I hope that was helpful and becoming a little bit more mindful and a little bit more loving and grateful to your body for trying to have this conversation with you. Feel free to shoot me a message if you want the names of those books or need help with any of this. And let me know if you enjoyed the Facebook Live. I definitely enjoyed doing it for you. It's something that I'm super passionate about. And have a great night, guys. I'll talk to you soon.